cracking. Let's start the session. Mars lynch the competition, balls by that action. You can never debate it. This is actual fact. Stephen A with the flavor, baby. I skip through a track. I'm like, say what? Say what? What's up with all my haters? I'm a ball when I perform. So my jersey's in the air. I'm allergic to my haters. Every morning I prepare. Lot of clothes I can wear just like them Oregon players. Yeah, quack quack. What it do? Rap like it's nothing to it. Matter of fact, you can ask hard and I'm cooking too. Bass dog cooking too. Nah, look at you. Great mind. They embrace mine like a crooked tooth. 4 takes. That's you. 3 takes. Not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take. Stop me. 4 takes. That's you. 3 takes. Not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take. You got me.
And welcome to the second first bait of the second first bait of the 13th, I think, Babby Cup. This is your host. We have no co-host today. Our regular host is out of town. We couldn't get a guest, but figured might as well just have a quick show. Give everyone a quick rundown of what happened on this second day. As usual, if anyone wants to call in, we'll do call-ins after the recap. Join the Discord listed at the bottom of the screen, and join the call-in lobby. I'll pull you in as we go. All right. So today we started off with Group E. We started off with W versus G. This one ended up being a draw. G struck first at 8 minutes, pretty quickly, and they led for most of the game, but W was able to pull one out at the 66th minute, and just ended up a 1-1 draw. Not a whole lot to say here, except that W didn't look good. G didn't look that great. I mean, neither team really looked like they had it in them to win against either of the other 2 teams in this group. So it just felt like they were evenly matched in a bad way. There was 2 cards, one for BSD, one for Minimalist. I don't believe either of those is a medal, so not the biggest deal in the world, but it is to be noted. But yeah, I mean, it's not an inspiring performance from either one. That's really about what there is to say about that one. From there, we move on to Out versus A. A struck first at the 17th minute, and then it just kind of all went downhill from there. 55 minutes from Smokey the Bear, 64 minutes from Grants Force Brooks, 67 minutes from Wesson Chips. Within a 12-minute span, Out went from 0-1 to 3-1. They just took this one little chunk of time and tore a new asshole. They just came out swinging in that second half, and they didn't let up until A was forced to make some changes. There was the one A attack where Bebop had an open shot, but instead passed it back for a terrible shot. Honestly, if that would have went in, if he would have took the shot and it goes in, Out does not get that second goal. A gets their second goal. Now, even if the rest of the game plays out exactly the same way, it would still end up 3-2 to A. So this is what I was saying in the fetus, is that Bebop cannot be trusted with the ball. He makes bad decisions with the ball. He does not take good shots when he does shoot the ball, even though he did score. He didn't score until, extra fucking time. He is not, as much as I love him, as much as I want to see him stick around, I don't know if he's suitable to be staying up in front like this. Like, his time as a striker may just be over. And of course, there's setup to do with it. There's cards, and there's this, and there's that. But it's just not working with Bebop. And I don't know if there's an answer that includes Bebop anymore. I mean, there's really not that much more to say about it. Oh, I should probably fix that, huh? Oh, good, I don't have the real logo. Oh, well, screw it. Anyways, yeah, I mean, A has problems. They didn't look as bad as they should, a lot of people thought they should have, and even I kind of thought they kind of should have in that game. They played really well in the first half. That second half, they just shit the bed, and I think that scoreline probably should have stayed at 3-1. And it's up to them to beat W and G. They should still at least be able to beat one of them and draw one of them and give themselves a shot at promotion. But they need to do something about Bebop. Either find a way to force him to feed the ball to Megaman, who isn't the best either, but I mean, someone who will actually take a shot, or maybe just start off with the three-man forwards with that on the field and just try to work somebody into a position that not even they can fuck up. Other than that, I just don't see them going too far if they do make it. If they don't, it's not going to be all that surprising. Out. A lot of people thought Out was just going to, because they are what they are. They come out, they run their thing, and what comes will may. But they looked good. They found a way to make their stuff work. They found a way to change their stuff up in the middle of the game to help facilitate extra firepower and extra muscle, you could say. And I'm glad to see that. It's kind of inspiring to see that Out may not be such a lay down team as we thought they might have been. Everyone looked good. Everyone looked solid. No cards for either team. And that's really all there is to say about that one. Out's in the driver's seat, 3-1-1-0 on that entire group. But W and G have more to prove than anyone else in that group. Especially G. G probably should have been able to handle that W easily, but they didn't. And the next game is going to be against A, which is probably going to be the telltale sign of who goes up in this group. Alright, Group F. Group F is C versus AN. I'm sorry. I'm 2 days ahead. C versus WG. C didn't do a damn thing. They got beaten 2-0 by Cunt Destroyer FC, featuring Descartes. Yeah, WG just came out storming, and while they didn't do much more until the second half, they didn't need to. Then they got an insurance goal in the second half, and that was about it. I mean, this is another one where there's not much to talk about. Just C came out, they looked lethargic, they didn't look anything like they did in winter, and WG fresh, hot, and I didn't expect a lot of them, but hey, they showed that maybe they should have a little bit of a shot to move on, a little bit of fear in the eyes of their enemies. But yeah, WG came out 1-1, got 3 points. They're halfway to the elite, so you can't take that away from them. Next game would be AN versus Y. Ended 3-1 to AN. The Y that looked so decent to good in the fetus, that was a trap, apparently. Because they did not look good here. Outdoor Cat jumped out to a quick strike. Take to the vet, got a quick card. Y answered 18 minutes in, and that was all she wrote for him. Because Take to the Vet got one at 20, almost an instant reply, and then got one near the end at 81 just to seal the deal. Y played hard. That they didn't play hard enough. Or maybe they played too hard and they were just distracted. Y didn't have the fire they had in the fetus. Y just kind of felt like they were outclassed here by AN, and maybe that's because AN did come down from the elite. So even though they spooned, there's still something there. It's like the old argument of, could the best college team beat the worst NFL team? Well, most likely no. And this may have been like the best high school team against the worst, like NFL Europe team. But NFL Europe is still better than a high school. We'll just put it that way. But yeah, AN came out, looked like a team with a statement to make. They made the statement, and they won pretty convincingly. I'm again halfway back to the elites. I fully expect them to be able to beat either Out or WG, and taking out Y, which was probably their biggest challenge in this group, is probably going to be enough to almost guarantee them, unless something crazy goes wrong. So, yeah, congrats on the win, and why I'm really kind of disappointed in. But we'll see. So let's just move on to Group G. This one was a back and forth game. Soch and Lit. Soch scores at 30 and 36 by selfie. And then, yep, Lit woke up. Lit woke up, put 2 on the board, 42 and 51. Not quite quick succession, but hey, when everything just seemed lost, Lit got back in it. They turned the page, started a new paragraph, and they just came back. Until the 90 plus. 90 plus 3, Volkru seals it for Soch, and you could hear the groans emanating from the chat, but I'm sure all the Soch fans were happy to see it. Soch, again, a lot of people don't see them as a tough team because everyone's just so, they're such a hateable team that it's hard to see sometimes just how tough they are, how much muscle there is kind of behind the team. And they really came out and made their statement today. Lit looked good for a portion of the game. Didn't look good in the first half. Didn't look good for the second half of the second half. But for that first half of the second half, they looked like a fine team. If they can find a way to run that throughout the entire game, they'll at least avoid Fetus. This is going to be a tough group to get out of if you don't have a point already. Soch, TRV, and Lit. It's just like they're all tough teams, and it's going to be less who is the strongest and more just who is the least tough. And today, Lit wasn't as tough as Soch. I don't know if they have a path still to the elites, but it's going to be tough on them, and it's up to them to prove naysayers like this wrong. Another 3-2 game was O versus TRV, where TRV came out, scored at the 7-minute mark. O answered about 10 minutes later with cool vibrations. And then nothing happened until the end of the half, when, right at the death, 44 minutes, Couch Surfer Rapist, Couch surfed one right on in. TRV is going to go up into the half 2-1, right? Nope. 45 minutes plus 0, not even a minute later. O shows no mercy. Twingo puts it in and puts it even right at the half. It's really exciting. It's just such an exciting thing when that happens. And to have it happen twice, right in a row, to not only take a lead, but then take it right back, or take it away, that was hype. Made you really look forward to that second half. And what happened in that second half? About, 7 minutes into it, 52 minutes, 52nd minute of the match, come out, Mercy Twingo again, bangs one right in. Gives O their first lead of the game, and their only lead of the game, because you only need to lead once in order to win. If you're ahead at the end, you win. And, they were ahead at the end. O looked good, TRV looked good, nothing wrong with TRV, just O outplayed them. TRV showed a lot of willingness to try different things, and I wouldn't even say it backfired on them, just O had the better day. Sorry. O had the better day. They have nothing to be ashamed about. O has every right to be happy, but TRV, has every right to look forward to the next match with a little bit of vim and vigor. And if anyone, either of the teams with 0 points has a chance to move on, it's going to be a TRV. I don't know I could see them putting up a really good fight against Soch. If they beat Soch, then this is going to be one hell of a last match day for this group. Alright, actually that is the last match day. So if TRV beats Lit and O can beat Soch, it's going to be a hell of a race for that second spot. If Lit beats TRV, I don't know if Lit can beat O. But we'll see. Lit or Soch and O both halfway to the elites again. And it's really exciting to see this entire group, really. Group H, this was about the craziness I expected it to be. First match, E dominates K, with Yoko Littner scoring twice, once at 17, once at 72. And then Miku Drama getting a no-look, like a little no-scope 360 boot in, had 81, and that's all the goals. K, however, had a lot of action on the cards. That shoulder thing that goes up, 7 minutes, yellow. 27th minute, Zergface with the yellow. Gotta be careful about that in the future. And 45 plus 1, DB Deagle gets a YELLOW. Morgan did get a yellow for at the 79th minute for E as well. Yeah, K looked like they were drunk. E was just like calm, composed, running their game. K was like, hey, up my beer, watch this! And they just kick it in the general direction of the goal, and maybe it'll go in. Who knows? And you know what? It didn't, because E has a goalkeeper. I don't think K's setup is terrible, but they're doing terrible things with it. They need to find a way to give their team some form, to kind of funnel them into some kind of shape, instead of just looking like they're clueless out there. Like maybe they have no, like, if you took a bunch of 4th graders and you told them to go play soccer, like you told them the rules, you told them how to play soccer, but you didn't like teach them about positions or skills or nothing. You just gave them a bunch of sugar, no coach, put them out there. That's this K team right now. They did a decent enough job keeping them out of the net for about 50 minutes of this game. That's the kindest thing I can really say. It's just, I expected a little bit more out of K, and it's not inspiring at all for the rest of their games. Honestly, I could see this team easily dropping to the fetus. And it could just be a bad game. It could be a bad matchup, but I just don't see any excuse for this kind of a loss. Besides just everything going wrong, everything being bad. Just being bad. That was this game. They were bad. And I would love to be able to say, well, they made the changes, and K made it out on the skin of their teeth. I'd love to be able to say that in a week and a half. But they have inspired no confidence in me for it. E, on the other hand, they inspired every bit of confidence. They looked like an elite team that just got unlucky, which is pretty much what they were. They looked great. They looked calm, composed, full on, just like, no, we know what we're doing. We know what we're going to do, so let's go out here and do it. And they did that. And they just have to beat TRV or LGBT, and we'll talk about how they looked. But E looked every bit like twice the team than any other team in this group, and I think that's what most people were expecting. But yeah, let's get off this match before I just start rambling too much. TRV LGBT. This one was a fun one. LGBT opened the scoring with a 20-minute goal and then a 20-minute yellow card for Boy Pussy, who's a medal. TV answered at the start of the next half at the 52nd minute with Real Human Being playing hero for once. LGBT took the lead, though, at the 82nd minute off an Alfred Kinsey goal. Kinsey also got a medal, or got a card at the 69th minute. So LGBT has 2 yellows on 2 medals. Either one of them gets punished in the next game, then they're going to be missing 2. Well, at least, that vital striker, or that vital forward player. They are both strikers, aren't they? LGBT could be without both gold forward strikers in their final game against LGBT if they get yellow carded like this again. And that is a dangerous place to be in. They won this game, they escaped. They play K next. They should be able to beat K. That's the saving grace here. They beat K, they're in. So it doesn't matter so much if the medals are, suspended in that game. What it would become then is that they would probably want to rest both medals for the last game against E, and so they don't get suspended for the knockouts. But in turn, that means E's just gonna beat the living shit out of them, and it's just not gonna be pretty. So if K somehow beats LGBT and LGBT picks up a card in that game on the wrong guy, it could get ugly. Okay, one's a gold, one's a silver, one's a CF, one's a CMF. Okay, I'm sorry. That's still not good. Okay, cards. Yeah, but cards get cleared after the group stage. Suspensions don't. So if they play the carded players versus E when they're already confirmed, and they get another yellow card, they're going to be suspended for that first game of the knockouts, and you don't want that. So TV didn't look terrible, but they didn't look great. They looked like a middle team. They look like the third place team. They look third place. Like every team in this group looks like they have a place already secured. E looks like they're already first place. TV looks like they're already third place. LGBT looks like they're already second place. K looks like they're already dead last. I mean, just the way they played, and it's not because that's the order they're in right now, but that's just the way they played on the pitch. TV played uninspired. They played it. What's the word? They really just played uninspired. They played like they want to just be all right. They don't want to make it. They just want to be all right. LGBT, they showed hunger. They showed fire. They didn't look great. They didn't look like they're the best, but they look like they have something inside of them that needs to just be let go into the world, and they're going to do everything they can to ram it in there. Just ram their way to the elites. K, like again, they just looked drunk, like a drunk Australian team. So they don't even look like they could be the we're okay TV. E dominated, looked professional. They looked first place, and it's just like it's up to each of these teams to prove that wrong. But I mean, this already looks so clear cut just from one game, just from the play on the field, not the scores. If you ignore the scores, just the play on the field, each team already looks resigned to their fates. And TV, K need to find a spark if they want to change that. They need to just find something. Look at their team. What can we change? What can we do to make this team hotter? To make this team fiery? To make this team have spice? And we'll see if they can do that. There's every chance that they can do that, especially for TV. They just need to jumpstart their own hearts. And that's really all there is to say about TV. They're good, not great. LGBT is good, not great, but they're better because they're playing with fire. TV needs to play with fire. Okay, let's go over the games for tomorrow. We're moving into the second set of games for the groups A through D. We're going to have ADV versus P, but neither team with a point yet. Somebody's walking out of this with at least something. So there's still going to be a little bit of a race for the top. But one of these teams will be eliminated, I believe, after this game, unless there's a draw. ADV looked not great against Poe. P looked schizophrenic at best. Like, they can do it. I think P might out crazy ADV and get the win here, but ADV looks to be the safer bet. If I was walking into Victor's Casino right now, I'd put my money on ADV, but if I was walking into Victor's Casino while I was drunk, all in on P. I just feel like P can out crazy ADV in this game and get themselves into a position to at least have a chance. PO and T. That's going to be the second match of the day. T's very surprising. Poe, they won, but they weren't as surprising. I feel like I don't know what to expect of T. T has every way to win this match. Poe has every way to win this match. I would call a 2-2 draw. I'm gonna say it's a 2-2 draw just because I don't think Poe will lose, but I also can't say that T will lose either. And at times like that, it just feels so natural to say draw. And I'm gonna go with nature this time. I'm just gonna go with nature. There will be a draw in the pot. Okay, and here's the game that people are going to have eyes on all around the world. MLP versus N. Mulp dropped their first game to Hiss looking nothing like their old selves. They just looked like a shadow of what they used to be. And it's hard. I wouldn't say it's hard to have confidence in them because it's, at the end of the day, it is still them. But it feels so much like they're riding on name brand only that it's also hard to have confidence in them. And, I mean, what do you expect? And they tied Psy. Didn't look the best, but they didn't look bad. This is another one that it can go either way if you just look at it without the team's, reputations behind them. I'm going to say, as much as I hate it, MLP will walk away with a 2-1 win. But N has every chance to make it shine their way. If Mulp loses, they're eliminated. If Mulp loses and I believe Hiss draws, they're eliminated. No. If MLP lose, I believe they are eliminated because there will be 2 teams with 4 points. Mulp will have none, and that'll be that. If Mulp gets a draw, they'll still be barely alive. But we've seen where that's been before. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a fun game to watch. I hope it lives up to expectations at the very least. The next game, second game of Group B, Hiss versus Psy. Hiss looks great. Not just because they won, not just because they beat the team they beat, but because they just plain out looked great. They looked great in the fetus, and it looks like that's going to continue into the Babby. So, Psy, the one fetus team that gets to play another fetus team in the non-fetus cup, will probably lose. Psy will probably lose to Hiss. Hiss is too good. Hiss will punch the ticket, and they'll be the second team to be confirmed for summer out of the Babby. I just don't see any way Psy can compete with Hiss. They might have something up their sleeve, but they just never looked that great in their game against N in the fetus. They're a decent team. I just don't see them getting one over on Hiss. So look forward to that group. That's going to be a barn burner. Speaking of things that are burning, B and F, the Boyfriend Bowl. Everyone wants a nice BF to cuddle with, but everyone only gets one in this group, so 1-0. Who's it going to? Well, let's think about it for a bit. B got beat by Biz. B lost to Biz. And they lost convincingly. B is not B anymore. They are Neo B, and they are not good. F barely beat TG on a 90-pluser. The most I can say is F won their game that they should have won. B did not. So we're putting this 1-0 in F's favor. F will be right back in the elites where they belong. The second game, Biz versus TG. Biz beat a bad B. TG came within a pubic hair of, fending off a decent F. TG has a solid defense off that alone. They could change a lot from the fetus, and I believe that they did what they needed to do to beat Biz and put this group into a bit of fun. Okay, let's break this down if that happens. Biz will have 6, F and TG will both have 3, B will be on the outside looking in with just a hope to move on. And B will have to beat TG. B and TG could very well be for the second place spot if F can 9-point this group. I feel uncomfortable betting on TG right now, but they showed me enough in that last game, and Biz barely, they only got one in on a B that showed me that they're not very good, that I'm going to be willing to say 1-0 in TG's favor on this one. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Biz clinches their ticket, but I'm saying TG on this one just because their defense is a little bit better, and I don't think Biz is up to the task. Okay, last group of the day. Neckbeards versus lesbians. You and R9K, you beat CK. Didn't look the best, but I think they looked better than most people will give them credit for. There was that missed penalty, but I mean, that's just random fucking happenstance. CK looked better than their scoreline did, but you came away with the victory. So they can lose this one and still be in a pretty good position. Pretty decent position considering who the last team they have to play is, but they really want to win this one. They don't want R9K to have some kind of chance to get back into this group. Not with R9K versus CK in the last day. U is going to go as hard as they can to pull at least a point out of this. If they get a point out of this, they should be safe in this group. Naturally no promises, but it's going to be close. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. Actually, no. I'm going to change that. 3-1 to U. Because R9K is playing this sloppy-ass long ball, and U has big bitches in the back. They play height abuse, CB. They play height abuse, GK. And if you're launching balls forward, and you just keep trying to go over, you can't go over a wall that you can't even reach the top of. R9K's footmen will not be bigger than U's back women. And you will stop R9K's shitty attacks, get good attacks of their own, and just basically, R9K will not look as bad as they did versus Co, but U's going to clinch their way to the elites on a 3-1 victory. I don't think R9K has, R9K has team flexibility. I don't believe that they know what to do with that flexibility in order to get through U. They rely too much on what they have. They don't dream of what they could have. And they're just going to get outplayed by U. CK versus CK versus CO for the last game of the day. Cookin and Comics, I almost said Cookin and Cockin. It's the reverse cock. This is a classic matchup. It's a classic pairing. Two boards that love each other very much are going to go have a beautiful dive grass baby. Co's going to clean it up 3-2, but CK is going to come out a little spicy. They're going to fall just short, but they're going to show that, hey, we're better than we looked then, and we're better than our scoreline looked in the last game. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. We're advancing. We're getting better. Maybe in autumn we'll be able to escape the Babbies, but not right now. So yeah, that'll put Co through and U through, and this group will be all but locked up just to decide who's going to be the fetus. Yeah, Co's just too much for any team in this group. Co is just the number 9. Or Co is the 9-pointer. And it's just going to be... It's going to be an open and shut case for Co. They're too good right now for the Babby. And it's been a long time since we've been able to say that, but it's true. Yeah, that's all there is to say about that group. So, we're about at the end of the discussion. Sorry it's been so short, but it's only one dude, so. We do have one person in here ready to call. If anyone else wants to call in, well, join the Discord, join the call-in lobby. Not expecting too much, but hey. Alright, you're on the air.
Hey, you, hold on. Troy.
Yeah.
Troy.
Yeah.
Now, my mama told me that when I was growing up watching 4chan Cup, there'd be a 3-best team, that you will ever see in the four check at the one of them that fit. They be one of them good teams. MLP they a little low right now, but always good. And then but one of them that ASP right there. But how you gonna tell me? How you gonna tell me? Detroit. How you gonna tell me that Cole is gonna be a good team just because that one game against that one team that you don't like?
You mean the 4 games against the 4 teams that they've already played?
Yeah.
Yeah. They dominated the team I don't like. They dominated the teams I did like. But back down in the fetus, they've just been on fire. And yeah, they're going to be good. They are good. And I don't see the argument against it.
Honestly, I just like how Doom was involved in all 5 goals, and their defense got an assist and blew the fuck out of R9K. And so, in one particular version of fantasy football, those are the 2 top players after the first 2 days.
Who was it? It was Doom.
Apparently I'm quiet, so I think maybe you need to turn up your speaker volume.
Uh-oh. It was who?
Let me issue an audio test. Skip. That should be pretty loud. Please enter the same room. But the only thing that I can think.
Yeah, this is as loud as it can go, so I apologize.
Okay, no worries. The only thing I can give is how the fuck is Cove gonna choke it this time?
They won't. Like,
I don't think they will either, but it's only one game.
okay, well here's the thing. This so far after one day, it might only be one day. This cup has not been the cup of team reputation. We have Mup losing games. We have T winning games. We have B beating Biz beating B. We have I don't know who else. We had some today too. We had Y playing the game. I mean, Y and the Babby enough.
Rigged, but that didn't happen. Which
Nope.
happens in every single important match that they play. They get rigged somehow. That didn't happen.
It's just I don't see what. Oh, wait, I think I see the problem. I just don't see what anywhere that Cole's going to choke until they get to the knockouts. They okay. What team will Cole lose to in the knockouts, if any? Like, there's maybe E. I don't think E is as strong as Co. There's maybe out. I mean, I don't believe in out as much anymore, but you never know when they're going to pop up. I want to see how they play against you, because I think U's a little bit better, but I don't think U is co-tier anymore.
Yeah, I don't put a lot of stock into running the same exact export every single cup.
Yeah.
Even if it works. It worked for a long time, and it was really cool watching it happen, like way longer than it should have, when they got all the way to 3rd in an Elite Cup. But then after that, I was like, all right, let's try something else. And they haven't been shit, but yeah, I certainly don't believe in them either.
Okay, let's just ask real quick, was that a little louder? Because I think I found the problem. Okay, yeah, good. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I don't see anything but 2 or 3 teams that can beat this co-team without some level of, pezzing. Which, that's always possible.
I say that F might be a sneaky team to beat Co.
They looked good, but they only beat TG by 1 goal late in the game. They didn't look fiery enough, and I've been saying that a lot, but it's just they didn't look fiery enough to be able to grab a Co by the balls,
Yeah, that's fair. Tell me about R9K's formation, though, because I looked at it and was like, fuck yes, this is very interesting and different, and looks like it got blown the fuck out.
Yeah, because they trust in long ball. In long ball, they trust. And they don't really... they'll have, a plan A and a half. They don't have a plan B. They have a plan A and a half.
Well, the formation is kind of like a 1 DMF and then 5 niggas forward, right?
Right. Yeah, it's basically like a 505. It's like a 505 with a dude to spare.
Yeah, it's like you have too many receivers and not enough quarterbacks.
Right. It's like if you had I don't know, like Megatron and Golden Tate and I don't know. Let's put Barry Sanders on there too. Why the fuck not?
Or maybe Eric Ebron.
Yeah, but then you put him with like any Cleveland Browns quarterback.
Yeah, like Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, put him with Dan Orlovsky, who's running out the damn end zone. It's just.
Well, actually, what about? And this is going to be probably too spicy. What about WG?
They haven't shown me anything. They
Yeah,
won.
that.
They won against C. A C that looked terrible. It might be that WG's good enough to make C look terrible. I'm going to wait. I'm going to reserve my opinion on that. If you put a gun to my head, I would say no. But I would like to reserve my opinion until I see him at least play Y. Or even maybe AN. I don't know if a Y game is enough to prove yourself. But ask me again after, AN.
And I think even the It's Only C posters are even sitting in the back like, oh my god, C is shit right now.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. Okay, what about losers? Who do you think the best losers, and who do you think is like a sure bet to get promoted after losing their first match?
Okay, so just teams with no points.
Yeah.
You always gotta be afraid of Mulp. CK would in almost any other group.
Yeah.
TG is like TG is a sneak pick. Like they feel like a team that would just barely make the knockouts, like the 16th place, and then go on to get like maybe 1 point at best in the elite. But I mean, they could sneak out. A has problems. If they can fix those problems, I don't know if they can. It might be too late. It might be like a fundamental card issue with their strikers. If it's not and they can work around it, they're just as likely in that group. If Y can get their fire back under them, sure. Lit and TRV. Anybody in this group G is still the most open group.
Yeah, I was definitely gonna say Lit. I thought they looked pretty good. They made like 7 changes against Soch, but I mean, there's something to be said for like the right level of panicking that's not over the line, but it's definitely you being involved in the match and trying to change something constantly. They found something that worked against Soch, and they just got a little unlucky at the end.
Right, and we'll just see if that can hold up, and I think it can. I think every team in this group is talented, and honestly, it's a shame that 2 of them have to go out and 1 has to go back to the fetus. TV, I would say, if this wasn't a group where everyone's going to lose to E and everyone's going to beat K, and it's just down to LGBT versus TV, which was already played, and yeah, TV lost. So,
do you think if TV had their manager there, they would have done better against LGBT?
Could have. I mean, even any small change can, it's like some butterfly effect. Any small difference can make a huge change. If there was somebody there, like even that wasn't the best manager, that could have made a world of difference for him. But as is, I just don't see him making out of this group unless something wacky shit happens.
Yeah, me neither. I think LGBT is legitimately good.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much all their players were everywhere. I really liked their formation. They adapted their formation late in the game. I mean, Johnny Bravo pointed out how their formation wasn't straight.
They're running the zone of mist down, aren't they?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, where you only have one wing back.
Right.
And then on the other side, you have a midfielder that kind of plays it forward. And I want to see more of that asymmetry, because there's so much stock that people put into formations, but sometimes people don't realize that play styles and cards and the direction that the ball is moving, and especially sliders, will influence that formation.
Right. Yeah, I think there's like 3 Babby teams running it, and only one won with it, and that's being LGBT.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see more, more data on it, more, see it used more, just to see maybe if it is viable. For more than just, someone who is good with it, maybe.
Do you think that the People's Champion Y can make a comeback and get out of this group?
Oh, shoot. Again, that group is just... That group is the opposite of Group G. Group G is open because everyone's good. Group F is open because everyone's not that great.
That's true, though. I'm looking at their schedule AN isn't that
great, but that was still like the toughest match on paper for Y.
Right.
Get that out of the way.
Like C might not even be as bad as WG made them look. I think they are, but let's just play devil's advocate, right?
I love doing this.
C isn't as good as bad as they looked. They're not beating AN. AN's making it out of this group easy.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes to WG and Y. WGY. Y. WG might be a little too much for Y to handle, so that would pretty much take them out. That would pretty much decide the group. If they can get past WG, they can beat C. But I think WG is going to just be too much when it comes down to it. And C is going to be the fetus team. Y is going to beat C.
Yeah.
So, what would you say?
I usually like fun groups like that where you have a bunch of holy crap, these teams suck groups or teams, because it ends up being kind of a mad scramble for whoever gets the.
Yeah, you usually end up seeing some really crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
what are you most looking forward to in the first 4 groups tomorrow? There are like a couple scenarios at least where teams can go out. I know.
First 4. I'm looking forward to. Okay, here's what I want to see from each game. Let's just put it this way, okay? Because it looks like every game has some kind of interest to it. Yeah. I'm looking to see if ADV is falling off as hard as I think they are. I want to see. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think they are. Sorry.
I want to see if T is for real, or if Poe is for real, or maybe they're just as real as each other. But I'm looking forward to see which one of those teams is real. I'm looking forward to see if MLP is just entering a new age of management and having some growing pains, or because I feel like their main problem was just whoever was running them didn't exactly know what they were doing to the level that you would expect out of this team. So
yeah.
I want to see how Mulp manages this game. It's not an unwinnable game. It's not an unlosable game, but it's just like a middle-of-the-road game that might be a lot harder than they think. Like, if I was a Mulp fan, I would say this is almost a trap game.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well.
Yeah.
Because N are like one of the worst teams of all time.
Right. And
they seem to lose every game, but every single time they lose, they take that team to the absolute limit.
Right, and they're just underrated. Somehow they're underrated, even though they're not that great. Like they always seem to find a way to sneak in somewhere. And this just feels like the perfect place for them to sneak in. So I'm looking forward to seeing in this game how Mulp's management reacts to a team like N.
Yeah, and on the flip side, like this is also probably as much of a huge test for N as it is MLP because of that history of fucking up and being unfortunately bad.
Yeah, this could be the mark of a new.
The Dallas Cowboys after getting a point at the last second against a slightly better side team. This would be such a huge 3 points if they can get against MLP and put them in the driver's seat.
Yeah, it would. It wouldn't confirm them through just yet, but it would put them in a great position. But yeah, it could be a new sign for N if they win this game, just because it's just like a new chapter, like finally turning the page on their loser days, moving into an age of winning.
Yeah.
So
like this is huge for any team like N.
Hiss versus Psy. There's nothing too interesting in this game. Hiss, I looked for Hiss to just continue steamrolling.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is if his are for real, this is where you have to prove it.
Right. So I don't know if
I won a game with their new manager.
Well, I mean, I think they had to have to make it out of Fetus.
In the Fetus.
I don't have the page up. I'm sorry.
That's all good. I'm looking for it.
I
should know this.
Yeah, this is like the most boring game on paper, but it'll be very entertaining in person.
No. Since it was a 12-9 Fetus, they had 2 draws and 1 loss.
Oh, wow.
They drew to the Pole and gave Pole a point, and I was hoping that they beat Pole and prove that they're ready to go. But it seemed they've led, I think, of these 4 games, this 4-game sample size we have for Psy in this year in this PES. in those 3 draws, I'm pretty sure they've led for a significant amount of time, or some amount of time, but they haven't been able to close out the game.
Yeah, this is where okay. So yeah, this is where they're gonna have to prove if they're up to snuff or if they're just happy to be here. Because so far they just look like they've been happy to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next game was BF. Is B actually that bad? Is F actually that good?
Yeah, it's really hard to take anything from this group with 2 games and 2 goals, and one of them is a fucking 90-pluser.
Right.
I still thought F was solid against TG. Like, they
Yeah.
defended well.
Yeah, I think F made TG look better than F made themselves look, but I don't think F looked bad. Yeah, I mean, that's just... Who of this is another one. Who is real?
I think Biz is real.
I
got my spicy meter a little too high right now.
Right. Yeah, that's the
I
next
feel like
game.
Biz is gonna 7-point this group.
Well, that's the next game. Does Biz have the offense or does TG have the defense? Because again, TG's defense looked good. Is it for real? Or was it just, a one-time thing? Biz, were they just a one-time thing? Were they just, yeah, we won, not convincingly. Can we convince anybody to believe in us now? And this is the game where they're going to prove it if they're going to prove it, because I don't think they can prove it against F. Unless, like even if they win, it feels like a win against F might be a little fluky for Biz. Because I think F looks better than Biz, but... then we'll move on real quick because we gotta start wrapping up soon, and we got one more caller. You and R9K, I'm looking to see if if R9K is as bad as they looked in that first game. If maybe they have something in their back pocket that isn't long ball. If they do, then yeah, they might have a chance at something.
R9K is a lot better, at least historically, than they have showed in that 5-0.
Yeah. Usually they never lost this bad. They were used to be perennial losers, but they never lost this bad. Is you the team that maybe they looked like they could be? Like they look like they're they look like they're in a rebuilding stage right now. Like they're not bad, but they're not as good as they once were, and they're not as good as they should be for what they have. Right. Yeah.
They faced a CK team that I think is definitely a candidate for what I talked about earlier, one of those best losers of the first round of games. That CK team attacked pretty quickly and viciously, and they withstood a pretty fast CK attack. So yeah. I have high hopes for you, and I think they'll at least 7-point in the group. Even if they lose to Co in the last game, they should have the other two, or the other win in the bag, I should say, with RNK.
Yeah. Fine. The only thing about CK in this group, I don't think that's going to be good enough. They're just in too tough of a group for as good as they are. They'll escape the fetus, but CKCO is just basically just how many goals will Co score? Can CK limit Co?
I swear, dude. Like I don't know much about Co and their history, but I just have this feeling that they're gonna choke it horribly away. Like something's gonna happen. And they draw against CK, and then they lose 2-1, 3-2 against you, or maybe 1-0. Just a slim 1-goal loss, and then all of a sudden they get blown out in the 9-4-4-1 tragedy or whatever it is.
No, I just think this is if there's any cup that's just fuck history, it's this one, and so I just don't see that.
I would be very happy with seeing Co rise, and that's probably why I'm so paranoid. It's because I'm trying to limit my expectations, man. You were Lions fans, man. We understand this pain.
I was going to say these aren't the Lions, man.
Kool-Aid, man. It's the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, don't drink that Honolulu Blue, kids.
God, I really do. Now that you mentioned it, this kind of being the group of death, I really do feel for CK because they have to play spoiler at this point, and I really want to see them get up to the elites, even if they don't have the 4cc core nachos anymore. It's still a real fun team.
Rip. So yeah, sorry to cut you short, but this is about where I'm going to have to cut it. Anything else on your mind you wanted to say real quick?
Nah, man.
All right. Thanks for calling, then.
Peace.
All right. Give this guy a minute to make sure his microphone's on. But you're on the air, my good man. He might not be paying attention because we did take that last call a little long.
Oh, sorry about that. I was muted.
That's no problem.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Uh, hey. Well, I was listening to you, and I just want to compare notes for tomorrow because there's some discrepancies about stuff. And well, the first group though that's pretty much solid all around, and I think just Poe and T was just well, everyone just laughs at them, and they just show they can be really dangerous, which is surprising for T. Like they get laughed at, but they can still have a bite. Paul did tremendous job since last year, I think, and I think that they will probably progress. Advice and P. I don't think P is as strong as it was. I don't know what's your take on that.
P really let me down. We'll say it that way. P really let me down. I don't think they are what they used to be or should be.
Yeah, like because I remember I was really mad at P because they were kind of the nemesis of his, and P went forward. His got relegated to Babby's, and now it's complete opposite. It looks like P might get relegated, and his is it's a shooting star right now. Maybe their destiny is tied. I don't know.
Could be. I mean, yeah, they came in at the same time, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They come from the same founding.
So yeah, it wouldn't be surprising, really.
Yeah. And Group B, I really don't want to talk about Group B that much because, well, what you said is pretty much true. Like, N is a team that always goes in the leads, win a winning spoon, and then just comes back. It's hard to judge them like harshly in Babbies. They can be a dangerous Babby team. MLP, well, maybe it's time for them to take a breather from elites.
Could be. I mean, but it's just like they always find a way to sneak in there, you know?
Yeah. I think just his news management has a better grasp of tactics. I mean, the old his just relied on the Holy Roman Empire to score every goal. Now you have Bismarck, Napoleon, Holy Roman Empire. The trio of three good players is just doing tremendous job at scoring goals, and I really hope we'll see that against Psy again.
Yeah, I don't see any way that side defends against it, effectively.
Well, there were some problems in the Fetus with his defense, but that's patched up nicely.
Yeah, they won the Fetus, and then they did a lot to improve their team. So
Yeah. So I think his personally, I think his is going to top this group tomorrow.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, and Group C, here is actually when I will say that I will agree that B is a shadow of themselves. I mean, I think that the loss in the leagues just was a huge letdown for everybody, and I just can't find the new idea for the team. While F versus TG, I want to argue with you. What I see from TG was every attack F made was from the wings, and TG was very weak on the wings.
Yeah, but in the end, they were able to keep. It wasn't F missing. It was just F being kept out of the goal.
Yes. What was basically the goal was a little bit of a spaghetti moment, basically.
Right. See, here's the thing that people don't really realize about this Pez. especially in this PES, I should say. Making your opponent take lots of really, really, really bad shots that will never go in a million years is usually just as good of a defense as stopping shots completely. I mean, MU did it, we did it, a couple other teams did it. T did it in the fetus. It's just like it's like a controlled keeper babying, you can kind of say. Just force your opponents to either shoot right at the keeper or shoot wide as hell, and it's just as good of a defense as anything else. Bend but don't break. Yeah, there we go.
Fair enough, but again, TG's two of the leading people were always covered, and in the end, the most shots were done by the Emperor rather than Doom Rider, for example.
Right, but
And
here's where we go back to your side though a little bit. They were playing F, who was also very good. B and Biz, neither one of those are this F. So
I'm having my doubts, really. Like TG is one of the boards I basically bailed B for TG, and my heart is to them. It's just I'm really worried. Were there's going to be adjustment of tactics before tomorrow's match?
Right, and I wouldn't blame them if they did change something.
Well, I would love to see a positive change against Biz.
Yeah.
Because Biz was only once in elite and they got relegated really fast.
Yeah, this is put up or shut up time for TG right now. And I think they have it in them. It's just if they can bring it out.
Yeah. Well, and the last group, I will say this: R9K just, I don't know. I think the team is lost. It's not the powerhouse it was before.
No, it's one of the teams that really suffered the most in the switch from 16 to 17.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought they were going to just because they played a hyper offensive style. Like remember they put 8 to 5 on P.
Yes.
And and that just kind of come to fruition. And I don't know if R9K is able to adapt to a new play style like this.
Well, that's the same problem with his, because his started with a very hyper-offensive style, and they got devastated in the Babbies, still on 16, and they've learned from that.
Right, but from what R9K has played thus far, and there's only one game, it doesn't look like they have. Well, it's one game plus what they played in winter, but.
As far as CO goes, big surprise. I'm not hoping for them because I know if I send them home, it's just going to make them choke. We'll see.
Yeah. Usually I'm like that, but I don't know. This time I just can't help but believe.
I'll say this: if CO continues with that playstyle, I think this will be the greatest comeback we've seen.
Oh, so you think they're going to do the out?
Yeah.
You think they're going to win the Babby? Hold on.
I think currently it's either his or CO. But this is like we've played 2 days so far. I want to see more.
Right, yeah. There's still a lot more to see. We're just making early predictions here. It's nothing that we really need to, unless you say it with a bombastic voice and say, this is Carl Stone Cold Lock of the Century of the Week. There's still, if you're running off limited information, it's not something you need to hold yourself to too much.
Yeah. Well, at work, we don't make those predictions so early, but you can see already some teams that are just weighted down. CK, I really feel sorry for that entire match because CK was just relentless, and the only time you scored was when CK made a mistake.
Well, that's kind of how football is. If you make a mistake, the other team will score. And they even got lucky that the penalty wasn't scored. Again, a CK mistake.
Yeah, and I believe no, that was another match. But basically each time you managed to wrestle the ball back, there was no CK defense, and that is a problem always. That is what sunk. Almost sunk one of his matches in Fetus. It's that it seems that in 17, basically, if you make a grave mistake, there is that window where the striker will be 1-on-1, two defenders running to the striker, and 9 out of 10 the striker will score a goal.
Right. And it just feels like CK gives up so many of those kinds of chances that they could take R9K just because I don't think R9K is that good. They couldn't take CO on that, and as they proved, they really needed to beat you in order to have a shot, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So while it's still technically possible, I don't think it's feasible.
Yeah.
Right.
And two more things I really want to bounce off you. I mean the two last games. I'm not going to talk about K because we both sit through that painfully, and basically I agree with you. Like it was so painful to see K wasting every opportunity they had.
Yeah, it's just like K never used to be like K's been bad a long time. They've never been quite like this. Like they always looked like a respectable team before. This time is probably the worst they've ever looked in a single game.
Yeah. Also, a lot of cards, which is another thing, which means that they try to be super aggressive, and even with that super aggressiveness, they were not making any progress.
Right.
And TV versus LGBT, like LGBT uses some really weird formations, and they're really working out, and I'm really surprised.
I kind of am, kind of not. I mean, I'm surprised mostly just because it's two new guys, but also they seem to have hit something really good, and they know they hit something really good, so they're showing a little more confidence, a little more ability to go through on it. If they hit a roadblock, I don't think they're going to know what to do, and it's going to really hurt them. But, I mean, this is basically, if we did stuff like this would basically be Rookie of the Year, level stuff. Where, they're not going to come out and be the best right away, but they got glimpses. You can see a glimpse of pretty, I don't want to quite say greatness, but they've shown that they have what it takes to be, at the very least, capable of bringing this team to an Elite Cup, maybe even staying in an Elite Cup at some point.
Yeah, I will say it's more so of a glimpse of understanding of the instrument mechanics. It's that glance into how to break the game and break the game good in your favor.
Right.
Yeah. NTV. I don't know. Like I feel they were so close to actually cleaning up their game, and just I think the problem was that the manager wasn't there.
Yeah, I feel like if the manager was there, that game could have went differently. I don't say it would have went differently because I just didn't see, like I said before, I didn't see a good spark out of TV. But on the other hand, they didn't look bad either, and a managerial influence could have been enough to swing the tide in their favor.
I think at least they could get a draw.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure they could have got a draw at the very least, but
yeah. And yeah, I think that's all of my notes because the rest was kind of bad to the connection. But yeah, like overall, it was very interesting, Babby, so far, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been one of the craziest. Well, we can say that at the very least. I don't want to quite say the best because I mean, we don't have like some of the best teams in here, or some of the most interesting teams in here. But the games themselves have been really, really entertaining, really crazy, We've had some insane results, and it's just really interesting to see where this is going to go.
Well, in football in general, it's kind of like you know what to expect from the big market countries like Italy, Germany, right? But there's always those few teams that are just out of the blue. Suddenly they're going to quarterfinals, they're going to half finals, and they're just doing so well. And you're like, where do they come from? And I think there's a lot of potential in these teams, in the Babbies, to be those new teams. A little bit of shake-up to the classification of elites would be a little good. Like elimination of MLP was one because no one thought that a powerhouse like MLP could be challenged, and yet it happened.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think that's enough. Thank you for having me here.
Yep. Thank you for calling, and we'll see you around.
See you around. Bye.
All right, and I believe that's going to be pretty much our time for today. Went a lot longer than I thought it would, especially for being a solo show. But I don't know, I guess I can be long-winded. Apologize. So yeah, I believe the Comfy channel should be re-hosted after this. Other than that, see you next time for the last day of the first weekend. Again, we will not be here next weekend for Grip Weekend. We apologize, but we're both going to be indisposed. There might be a replacement. We don't know who it is. If they do it, it'll be on their own terms. The small, minor chance that there will be no first bait tomorrow, but I'll do everything I can to make sure that it still goes on. But just be warned, if it does happen, the only way you'll know is basically just you'll see first bait after the games, right? So all right, I think I've stolen enough time from Doys. So see you around.